Okay, so my name's Iffy. I'm the founder of the Archi Talks Podcast. Um, I don't want to get into too deep into how I got into architecture because that's going to be one of the questions. But yeah, I founded this to help people get more comfortable when talking about architecture when it comes to interviews, maybe applying for an apprenticeship, whatever it is, just like getting more comfortable with architecture, getting used to maybe the terminology, just different ideas, controversial ideas as well. And yeah, what's your name?
Hi everyone, my name's Kayla. I've just finished sixth form. I'm now currently just starting my degree apprenticeship as an architectural assistant. So yeah, I'm IP's guest today, and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're gonna kick off with the first question. Okay, so what sparked your interest in architecture, Kayla?
Oh, naturally, I come like everyone in my family, both my parents, I guess, come from like a construction background or like a property background.
Yeah.
I think from young and just naturally being exposed to that sort of industry, either it's going on site with my dad or just seeing like my mum's paperwork lying around. I think naturally that's how I was kind of exposed into design, and then through that architecture.
So I know you mentioned your dad, like the construction side, and then your mum's paperwork. Which one are you more drawn to? The whole more physical or the more, paper and books kind of side?
I definitely say the more physical. I think I like being on site and actually seeing the final product, especially. I think papers, you can kind of see the dreams and the visions, but actually seeing it in real life, like you can't really explain that feeling, but it's nice. It's definitely.
Yeah, that's really interesting. How many site visits have you been on?
Oh, what, with my dad or
like
just in general?
In general.
Oh, a lot.
Wow.
He mainly focuses on like renovations sort of thing, whilst in this new role, it's more like actual physical houses. So yeah, like dozens. But yeah, enjoyed it, definitely.
Oh, that's really interesting. And when you go on these site visits, do you usually go like at the foundation stage or even like the finished product stage?
Yeah, well, with my dad, I see from start to finish. So I see like what if it's a kitchen, what the initial kitchen used to look like. I watch him strip it down, picking the tiles, and then obviously the final product when everything's installed. And obviously my new role as the apprentice architect, again, you see it when it's literally like just fields, so nothing on it, and you just design from scratch, right to when you see houses and people living in it. So that's really cool.
I must say you are the very first person that's been on the podcast that actually has like family rooted in architecture or some form of design or construction. A lot of people interest sparked through like playing games or just seeing buildings and thinking, how are these made and how can I get involved with that, and just kind of exploring that design process. But for me personally, it's quite weird how my passion for architecture started and how I got interested. I don't know if you ever played Roblox before.
Never, my sisters are obsessed with it.
Oh my gosh.
Listen out, listen.
Yeah, no. I used to play on a game on Roblox that was about building. Like, it was called Bloxburg, and you build houses and you can build schools and towns. And I remember the very first house I built, I showed my mum, was like, I even drew out like a little floor plan of it before and then built it on there. Like, I didn't even know what floor plans were. But I just kind of put things together, and I asked my mum, I showed her, and I was like, what kind of thing is this? She's like, oh, you might want to be an architect when you're older. So obviously after years, I started to research more and look into it. And then I remember in year 11, we started to do buildings in art. Did you take art like at GCSE or A level?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the themes and things can be of like buildings or people. Ours was of buildings, and I was like, this is just perfect. I'm having so much fun. I can do what I want to do, and now I can even use it in my portfolio, the work I've done. So I think it's quite interesting.
Exactly that.
Yeah. But I am very envious of you being rooted in architecture. Like, you have family that are practically architects.
We all got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to the first question then. What is your favourite architectural style and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. What is my favourite architectural style? What's yours?
Okay, well, my favourite architectural style has to be the Victorian style. I'm not specific, I just love Victorian architecture, Victorian, like, modernism, like the twists that are kind of a bit of modernism. Yeah. I like Victorian mix of a bit of Zaha Hadid style. I don't know. Yeah. I think I think Victorian the Victorian architectural style is really prominent in the UK. So obviously I've grown up seeing it my whole life. And at first I used to think, all the buildings in the UK are all the same. But when you start to see it more and you actually start to look deeper and look at the intricate details and think about who built it how many years ago, I think it becomes quite interesting. I feel like the Victorian style is like a lot more unique compared to the style today, the modern, very block, uniform, like buildings. So, yeah. What about you?
Oh, you know what? I need to get better acquainted with architectural styles. But I think right now I'd probably say minimalism. I know a lot of people are against that sort of thing because they think it's ruined architecture because it's not as creative and everything. But it's just something so sleek and clean about just the straight lines. You know what I mean? I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, and I think in today's society, a lot of things are monochrome and modernism. So I think it's a really architectural style that kind of blends in with society well today and kind of fits the direction we're moving, especially with things like tech and seamless designs. Yeah. I think, it slots quite nicely in.
What I like about modernism is how the shapes kind of like work with light and work with colour and things. I think it's deeper than just what's going to go inside the building or what people will see on the outside, but how it kind of functions as well. And I feel like that's quite interesting to think about. But do you prefer modernism to... No, do you prefer minimalism to modernism or vice versa?
Oh. Modernism, I would say. Yeah. I'd probably say modernism. I think there's a lot more flexibility compared to design. I think when you think minimalistic, to most people, there's only so much you can kind of do with that sort of thing, especially when it comes to things like colour palettes and stuff like that. But I think modernism allows for a bit more flexibility and kind of caters to a larger group of people.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think?
To be honest, I'd say minimalism. I think I'm probably one of the number one people out there that just doesn't really see the whole idea for modernism. Like, I'm just so excited for us to move on from this era. I think we got to a stage which was good, and then we just took it too far. We started going almost cyborg with our buildings. I just don't understand what's going on, especially in places like maybe in the US. I feel like some of the states have really super modern buildings, but they're not too into the future. They're not like too ahead of time, whereas there are some buildings that take up a lot of resources, destroy the environment, aren't good for the environment, and they're being built just for like tourism or just to be beating records and thing. And I feel like that's just what modernism is to me, and I feel like it's just not good for the environment. But I do see how modernism can be good when it comes to like getting ideas for how you can design buildings, but just sticking with it, I feel like it's quite basic. But that's quite controversial. So yeah, we're gonna move on to question number 2 now. Oh, let me know if I'm going too quickly as well.
Oh, no. Honestly, you're good.
Okay. Should historical buildings be destroyed to accommodate more housing and workplaces?
That's a very good question. It came up at work recently as well. Honestly, I do believe in historical preservation in the sense that, yes, it's nice to have like people visit the place and be like, yeah, there's history here. But I also think it saves like developers' monies if rather than destroying a building and start from scratch, if you're able to renovate and kind of fit in with maybe today's standards, I think that's a good way to save money. But the housing crisis today is absolutely ridiculous. The amount of people on council waiting lists that need homes and stuff like that. I do think when it comes to preserving history and giving someone one place that they can sleep and eat at or whatever, I do think housing will take the upper hand. So if it is between those two, I would say they have to kind of destroy the historical buildings. But where possible, if they can preserve those buildings and turn them into housing facilities, I think that's definitely a good route to take. But what would you say?
Wow, you just put it perfectly. That's exactly what I would have said. Okay. But for me, I think the housing obviously is more important than workplaces. As you said, it's about where people can go to sleep at night, where people can provide for their families. And I think that's more important than workplaces because, you can get a whole load of buildings in London being converted into office spaces and stuff. But you rarely see like actual homes like in central London. It's more just offices and obviously shops and restaurants. Yeah. And I think it's more important accommodating housing for people that are homeless or are on waiting lists, as you said. But then again, there is that like aspect of like, imagine someone having to knock down the Eiffel Tower to build a block of flats. Like, would that really be worth it? Like,
then that's when the debate sparks.
Yeah.
I think as well, in terms of workplaces, a lot of people are hybrid, say, work from home. So it's like by providing adequate housing, you're able to solve that need of like not having enough workplaces naturally. So yeah,
and I definitely think that aspect's overlooked. Like, people just think, okay, everyone needs to go to work in buildings, when a lot of jobs, as you said, can be done from home, and these buildings could be turned into housing and apartments and accommodation. But obviously the government's not thinking about that, so that's a whole other thing. But as I said before, like, imagine, for example, what's a really iconic, what area of the UK do you live in?
You know Milton Keynes? It's not far from London.
Yeah, I do. I've never been, but I have done a bit of work on that, actually.
Stuff. Yeah.
What iconic buildings are in Milton Keynes?
Oh, you have this thing called the Point. So it's just a massive red point in the middle of the city. You can't miss it. You have another thing called Escape. It's like a massive round dome. You can see it from miles away. Those are iconic buildings, I would say, per se, that stand out when people see most, because when you search it up, that would come up. What part of the UK are you from?
Oh, I live in London.
Oh, classic.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm off the...
Yeah, no, but I was going to ask you, so say the dome, like those buildings that you were talking about in Milton Keynes, if you woke up tomorrow and you saw they were fully knocked down and there was like, I don't know, barricades around it saying a block of the most plain looking flats are going to be taking over this space, how would you feel?
Honestly, this sounds so bad, but I feel like Escape in particular, or even the Point, both of them, don't have enough historical like meaning or like importance, if I'm making sense. Like, they were to be knocked down, and if the reasons for it were like good enough, like, okay, to sort the housing crisis out, I would be in support. But if it was flip on its head and they say it was somewhere in London or Birmingham or another major city, then I would feel a bit different. But I feel like Milton Keynes doesn't have like, it doesn't bring in much tourism, like stuff like that. That if that sort of thing was to be knocked down, I feel like they would make more money from the new housing or new workplaces than they would have having that as a tourist attraction, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
No, that does make sense. I think that's a good way to think about it. Like, it is at the end of the day about the money that these places bring in. If they're not serving any purpose, why are they there? And unless are these more modern buildings? Like, how recent would you say they were built? You don't have to know the exact year.
It is pretty modern, but actually, just like you're saying that, the Point is actually getting knocked out and they are making flats now. But apparently, which is really weird. I am in full support because. No, I'm not in full support. I think it's been there for years. It's the Point was first built when Milton Keynes was built in like the 1960s. But a lot of people are against it because they're saying, oh, it's been here for years, or leave it. And it's kind of banging the shopping centre sort of thing, like the shopping centre surrounds it sort of thing, and they're putting the flats there. And the flats are going to be pricey because it's built in the middle of the city. But they're just received planning permission, so it's going to happen in the next year or so. But that'll be cool. It's funny we're talking about that. But it'd be pretty cool to see.
Do you know, this is just like out of pure curiosity, do you know whether the flats are going to be like higher than the shops, or?
Yes, I believe so. I've seen the images and they're just story.
I don't know how I feel about that.
One phase, but a bit further behind. But I think it's going to be weird. Imagine opening. I mean, maybe in London it's different, but in Milton Keynes, McDonald's is right opposite it, and you've got Wingstop here, and then you've got the other shops. It's going to be weird, like
just like a block.
You just kind of see shops.
It would just be right there.
Like, I don't know, but
imagine like all the people that are just going to the shops to do whatever, and you're just coming out trying to maybe go to school or something.
Crazy.
The noise pollution would be. So that's another thing. Then you can think about buildings can't charge people a lot to obviously stay there if noise pollution is extremely high, or if there's lots of buses, or if I don't know, these kind of what's the word? These kind of things. I feel like the property owners can't charge people a lot. Because I think there are like actual laws in it. Like, a lot of people don't want to go and live somewhere with noise pollution. They'd rather live somewhere more quiet, you know. So the money made may be good, but it might not be as good as we think, because if there's going to be a lot of noise pollution, as you say, it might not be as attractive to people looking for a home.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I think that's interesting. That's quite funny how I brought that up and it's actually happening.
I know.
Well.
I was just thinking, I was like, oh, what a coincidence. But yeah.
Wait, what was the name of the book? I actually want to have a look at this after.
The Point.
The Point. Okay.
It's like a big red point. Like it's made. I don't know what it's made out of, but it's like a pyramid sort of thing. Big and red.
Okay. I'm gonna have a look at this after.
Yeah, you should. It's interesting. I'll read.
Okay. We're gonna move on to question 3. Okay. So this is similar to the last question, but this is more about the environment now. I'm curious to know where you stand with this question. Is sustaining the environment more important than the housing crisis?
When you say the sustain the environment, do you mean like things like I don't know, greenhouse gases and stuff, or do you mean more like preserving it in the sense that like don't build on fields?
Yeah.
Or,
yeah, I mean that, yeah. The second, what you said second, so it's like about not building on the nature. It's about not like cutting down trees and building up flats and building buildings there. Instead, preserving what we have and kind of working with the spaces we have that aren't overrun with nature.
Yeah, I hate sitting on the fence in debates because I feel like it should be either one or the other. But if I had to pick a side on this thing, I would say sustain the environment. I feel like the environment is what keeps us living today. Without the environment consists of water, air. If we keep ruining it, we won't have a home, which is the planet technically. We'll end up being homeless. And I think in today's world, there are so many, you know what I mean by brownfield sites? Right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, there's so many brownfield sites, there's so many desolate or abandoned buildings that I'm sure big firms have the money to demolish it if they want to and rebuild it rather than seeing a big green farm atmosphere and saying, hey, like I want to build a block of flats in here. So I think that there's so much space for us to kind of reuse that there's no need for us right now to be touching like green land. I don't know, you might think differently, but that's kind of where I sit on this issue.
No, I think that's important. But then my question to you is, if there are people, like say we had, I mean, I know there are millions of homeless. Say we had, this is obviously very dramatic. Say we had a billion homeless people in the world, okay? And all the brownfield sites had been used up. We're just left with the farmlands, the forest, Amazon rainforest, what's left of it. Is it okay to then cut down and build on top?
I feel like in that example, we don't have a choice sort of thing. We can obviously use up things like the Amazon rainforest that they're already doing construction on, or if you're thinking more in the UK, we can start digging into farmers' plots. But I think the key question is like, where do we kind of draw the line? Like, yes, there's so many farms. You drive on the motorway that's surrounded by farmland, but how much land is it too much land sort of thing? Like, where do you kind of draw the line? Because we could just think, it's just one farm plot out of all of these, or just another one. But it will get to a point where even things like trees, is there enough trees to kind of provide the whole of the UK oxygen? They're kind of like difficult questions ethical questions come into the question. But if it's between humans and the environment, and that level of humans need a place to stay, then I definitely say, humans would have to take it,
I don't know. I think, now this is going to sound really weird, but I'm on the fence with this. I think, obviously, the housing crisis is ridiculous, as you say. Like, there are so many people that are homeless, so many people that don't have a home, just people that are waiting for somewhere to live. But then again, the environment is crippling as the days go on. Like, we are slowly but surely, in fact, swiftly destroying our planet. If you look at the polar regions, they're melting like crazy. Polar bears don't even look like polar bears anymore. And I feel like
habitat destroyed.
Yeah, I feel like humans have become quite greedy in the sense of, okay, it's all about money. We're just gonna build offices, build workplaces to become the best and become the richest and become the smartest. We're forgetting about the environment and forgetting about just basic just basics, like the basics of life. We're just kind of moving too quickly. And I wouldn't be surprised whether like in 10 years we've lost the whole of the Amazon rainforest. We've cut down it all and the ice has melted, because I think at the rate we're moving, I understand the housing crisis is insane, but the environment, I feel like between the two, the environment is at a worse place than the housing crisis. And at the end of the day, there are so many places like brownfields, as you said, that could be that could be built on. So let's just preserve the environment and build on the brownfields. I know you're probably thinking...
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
no,
was going to ask one question for you. It's slightly off topic. But my question is, why do you think there is a housing crisis right now? Like, what would you say is the root cause as to why people can't either afford housing or they're homeless?
I think it's all to do with money. So I think... I forgot what the word is called, but the amount of... The cost of how much things are has gone up.
Inflation.
Yeah, inflation. But there's another word for it. It's like a thing of like the whole world's income. Like it's like
Oh, right.
Oh, I don't know. This is all too much geography, and I've dropped geography. Leave me alone. No, I'm joking. No, I think it's to do with money and how things have become more expensive, and the government isn't investing into things that matter. Let's be real. They're investing into things like weapons, and if we just all agreed on wars ending, we wouldn't have to waste billions on weapons and artillery and all this, and we could actually invest it into housing. I also feel like money is being spent on like what's it called, digging like oil and things, and I think that's good.
Yeah.
But again, we're still destroying the environment, and we're still thinking about money. We're not thinking about the people.
Yeah.
And that's why there is a housing crisis, because money isn't being spent on housing, it's being spent on other things. And instead, that's why when you go to a supermarket, everything's so expensive, because the money is all being spent on something else and nothing's being invested into the supermarket. So they're having to raise their prices so that they can make ends meet. Obviously, a supermarket is a massive corporation, but everyone has to make some kind of ends meet. So that's why. Why do you think?
That's what you said. A lot of it is down to human greed these days. But like, you've got people that will buy massive plots of land and they'll just be there, or build houses just for the sake of it, and they live on the other side of the world. And that plot of land could have housed like another 100 people or something. I don't know, but yeah, similar to what you said, I think it comes down to money, and certain humans greed, like I was just saying, just the constant want for more and more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've seen like celebrities that have got like 8, okay, maybe 8's a bit much, but like 5 houses worldwide, and like sometimes they're even just staying in a hotel for like months on end. So it's like, what is the point of having that many houses when no one's even looking after them? They start to become old, and then you come and then you stay there for like 5 seconds and then go back to your other place, and it's just a waste.
Exactly.
Like I feel like there should be a cap.
Even recently in TikTok, I remember and hearing about, even in the news, that Jay-Z and Beyonce are actually building a mansion in the Cotswolds, up north. I don't know if you might have heard of that. And they're building a massive mansion in there, and people are upset because the Cotswolds is traditionally people that would go there for camping. The scenery up there is stunning. Like, I recommend you go back. It's absolutely beautiful. It's kind of like preserved land, most of it, but there are parts that you can kind of get planning permission on. And apparently they're building a mansion there, and people are upset about it, saying that, again, the celebrities, they've got a couple of packed houses in the States already. It's stuff like that you kind of question, like, what's the balance? Where do we draw the line? Yeah,
for sure. I think that's insane. I haven't even heard this story. Then again, nothing surprises me with celebrities, because again, it's all the government and celebrities that aren't like thinking about the environment, and instead are thinking about greed and how they can flex their money on other people.
Yeah, themselves. So, and
it's bad, honestly. But on that note, on to question number 4.
Okay.
Now, this is a good question for you, because you actually you're a part 1 now, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think architects should be paid more?
That's a very good question. The thing is, in my role in particular right now, it's not actually just architecture, but it's technical architecture. So I'm not just purely drawings. I get to go on site and do a few other bits. But should architects be paid more? Honestly, doing a lot of work experience and etc. It's a good question, because they're in uni for a really long time. Doctors are in uni for the similar amount of time, and they get paid way more. But I feel like in today's world, a lot of the work architects do for their job can be done using like CAD and other computer-aided things. That it means their work is not minimal. Even working with third-party architects at work, you see how, like, we give them the drawings, they kind of alter it to make sure it meets the spec.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a good question.
No,
if you go to other countries, their salaries are ridiculous. Like in the States, being an architect in the States is a whole different level than the UK. That's a very good question. What do you think?
I mean, I've been to a few work experiences now, and I've seen how different firms run. And I'm going to be completely honest. Besides from the fact that apparently sometimes they work over hours to finish projects, I feel like their jobs as architects are quite free. I feel like they're able to do a lot of what they want to do. I think it's quite a creative job as well. I know architects get paid quite a bit. It depends on the firm you work at as well. I think that's also another thing. Because I went to a work experience at a small firm. I don't know if you've heard of 3D Read.
The name faintly rings a bell.
Yeah, they had like an online work experience a couple months ago. But yeah, I went to work at 3D Read for a week, and I thought like they deserved to be paid more because the amount of work they were doing constantly on the run, moving around, everything. But then I went to work at Hawkins Brown. I don't know if you've heard of Hawkins Brown.
Oh yeah, definitely. I heard of
Oh my gosh, these people are like, it's like a cafe job. Like I feel like it's so chill. You're able to do what you want. Unlimited hot chocolate. Might I add, it was amazing. But people, I feel like it's quite a free job. And I remember when we were talking to the finance, like the head of finance, he was saying, oh, architects say that they deserve to be paid more, and he was like, no, they don't, because the amount that they get paid already in big firms like Hawkins Brown is a lot of money. And people that are maybe English teachers don't earn anything close to being the same as what architects earn. So, to be honest, I don't know.
Yeah, correct.
No, what were you going to say? Sorry.
No, I was going to say, even because I was quite set on the degree apprenticeship route, so I spent months finding like apprenticeships and reaching out to architects, and not in a horrible way, but you can kind of notice trends that with smaller firms with maybe like 10 or so architects in there, the salary for an apprentice would be a lot lower because they can't, already it's a tight budget for them, so then to take on an apprentice, it would actually be a lot lower. Whilst for bigger things like you said Hawkins Brown, there was Zaha Hadid, there was another popular one as well. I'm trying to remember, the names are gone.
Foster and Partners?
A lot higher salaries, especially for someone that's fresh out of school, to give them that salary. So like you said, I think it very much depends on the firm and their workload as well, that sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. But then again, like, I think people that do complain about architecture and having to do a couple extra hours here and there, at the end of the day, I think we all had the warning before we got into it of, okay, you will have to work hard, this is an easy job, this isn't an easy course. So when people do complain about it, it does confuse me a little bit, because it's like, we kind of did know what we were signing up for. We did the 8 years, and now we know this isn't an easy job. So yeah, I think that's interesting though. So you'd say, like, wait, how big is the firm that you're working at now?
Have you heard of Bellway Homes?
No.
They're basically like, have you heard of like Taylor Wimpey or like, you know, like in London, the people that build the apartments, the new builds. I'm guessing in London they build more like apartments rather than like houses.
Yeah.
But you'll see like big developments, especially like central like London. But in London, they focus on the apartments, but outside London, it's more like normal detached houses. Yeah. So I work for them. They're the UK's 4th largest house builder / real estate firm.
Wow.
So it's a huge firm. And then they have 21 divisions around the country. So I work in like the north-south division sort of thing. So do you say how much people are in the office? In my office? The office I work for?
Yeah, like how many people?
Oh my days. Per department, you have about 10 people per department.
Wow.
I think there's about 70 of us in the office, and that would be around each division. So each division have about similar size. But yeah, it's a massive firm. But obviously, other things are bigger or smaller. So it just depends.
Before I continue, I must say congratulations into getting into the 4th. Thanks. That's amazing. That's so good. You should be really proud of that.
Thank you. You're up next.
Thank you. But yeah, you said there's 70 people in office and 21 divisions. I've never heard of a firm that big. That's insane.
Massive. If you search it up, you probably would recognize the logo or seen it somewhere. But yeah.
Is it worldwide or just in the UK?
I think it's just the UK.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it's just the UK. Yeah.
21 in the UK. That's really impressive.
I know, yeah. I was even surprised. Yeah, I've only been there a week, but that and not. But yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Okay. On to question 5. Okay, so this one is more about design, because we've been talking a lot about, housing and paying and all that type of stuff, but I kind of wanted to get deeper into architecture and what architecture is really about. So does design start from the inside layout or the outside form?
Ooh.
So what, in essence, what the question's basically asking is, do you focus on what's going to be inside a building or how the building is going to look like on the outside?
Oh, that's a good question. The thing is, it depends. I think some people, it depends on how you look at it and like what you're doing, etc. But like, if I should use what I do at work for an example, with obviously what I've learned is that architecture has to, like, you can make whatever you want to make, a dream or whatever, like a house or whatever, but it has to comply with things like planning permission to even be able to make it like actually buildable.
Yeah.
So at work, obviously, outside, for example, you can't have a pink house in most places because the council won't allow you to have a pink house in a normal street of bricks. They just won't be happy with it. So I'd probably start, outside form. I'd start with the outside form. Just to first of all make it, to even be like, make it buildable, if I'm making sense, to actually make it from a dream to actually something that reality. And then I deal from the inside. I feel like it's weird because all of you would have said inside, outside.
Yeah.
I've seen it from like a industry standpoint. I would say outside. Inside. What would you go for? Inside, outside?
To be completely honest, I'm going straight off. Again, I'm going back to the past. I'm going off how I used to design like buildings and things. I'd always build the structure first. I'd always build the pillars and the building and the outside, and then work in and be figuring out, okay, this space is good. This could be something like this. It could be something like that. So I definitely feel like the outside form is where you would start from. Like, I think it's like, thinking about it, like, imagine building, okay, I've built someone's bedroom and then I've got to put some walls around it. Like, that's just a bit weird. It doesn't make any sense.
That makes sense.
But then if you think about maybe a space like a greenhouse, like a giant greenhouse, I don't know if have you ever been to Crystal Palace?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Yeah, Crystal Palace used to have, you might not have seen about the history, but they used to have like an ancient like greenhouse shopping centre, but it used to be a greenhouse. And I feel like with that kind of build, you focus on the inside and then work your way out. But to be honest, with modern architecture and where we are right now, I think we all kind of most architects focus on the outside. I actually haven't come across anyone that focuses on the inside though. Kind of curious.
And I think also naturally as well is, if it's a thing where you have a deadline or time scale, if you want to get work up and running, like you said, you can't start with the bedrooms, or you can't just put tiles. There's nothing to even paint, like the walls. So I think naturally, if you just want to get the work rolling, get contractors out there putting bricks and stuff, you would have to start from the outside, and maybe that will even buy you more time to experiment more with the inside. But I think I agree with what you're saying.
And you talking about contractors is also kind of similar to what I was going to say. It's also like, if you've been tasked by a client to build this house, for example, and you're showing them, I don't know, how a bedroom's going to look compared to how the wall and the structures would be, I think the client would be like, I'm sorry, did I ask you to do the inside first? Like, I think it would be a bit weird to do the inside. But then I feel like sometimes it could make sense. I think it really depends. There's only very small circumstances where it makes sense to do the inside first. But for most circumstances, I think the outside is a better idea, for sure. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we are whizzing through these questions.
How many questions have you got?
There's one more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So on to the last question. This is a bonus question. So if you had the ability to remove one architectural style forever, what would it be?
Ooh.
Like, what do you see and just think, ugh, this style is so ugly, can this just like not exist anymore?
I do have one in particular, but it's really controversial. I personally don't like Gothic revival architecture.
No!
It's so controversial. I just think it's really dark and it's very solemn. I don't really have to describe it, but it would probably be that one.
Wow.
I think it's a little bit more, I don't know. There's only kind of so much you can do. And there is another architecture style I'm trying to think of, but it's mostly like concrete and like it's just squares and concrete.
Oh, what, brutalism?
Yeah, that. I'm not too keen on that either.
Yeah.
But I'd probably remove one of those two.
Wow.
I think you keep Gothic. I feel like that you definitely keep Gothic.
For sure. Gothic is like when I love Gothic revival and Victorian style. Like they kind of go hand in hand for me. But for me, if I could remove any style, I would remove Bauhaus. Oh my gosh, Bauhaus with brutalism. Oh my days, I hate them both so much. I just look at the buildings and I'm like, what is this? Like, I don't understand what the point of this was. All this concrete, all these materials we used for a block that...
In London, you get it a lot as well, because a lot of the examples I've seen of it is in London.
Yeah, exactly. And these don't, like, manipulate light. They're not good for anything. They're just... I feel like they're just touristy. Yeah, and I feel like this is only modern tourism, because if you showed this to people maybe 30 years ago, they'd be like, what is that? And I feel like
they look the same. Much to work on.
I feel like for me with Bauhaus, it tries to be kind of abstract, but it just isn't. Like it just
doesn't work.
It's just blocks and horrible. I just can't.
Yeah, literally very grim and just cement and mortar.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't really seen a Bauhaus building or design or anything that I thought, okay, this is kind of, this is kind of okay. I've always thought like, this is not nice. I just don't get the whole hype around the Bauhaus movement. But yeah. That was the last question though. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Unless you had anything else to say.
No, just thank you for having me. I've enjoyed this discussion. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah. No, you are like really like the way you talk about architecture, I can tell you have like a real passion for it.
Oh, you too. I like that.
And I think it's really nice. I think it is really nice.